Humberside police are hunting a gunman in a car who tricked a woman motorist into stopping and then shot at her. The woman is in hospital with face injuries. It happened between the villages of North Cave and Hotham near Hull. Police are looking for a white hatchback car with twin spotlights.
Police believe the man was lying in wait near this garage, watching each passing car for a suitable victim. As the 25-year-old woman drove past, he pulled out behind her, tailing her for 3 miles until she reached a remote lane, when he flashed his lights for her to stop. Police are searching the grass verge where she struggled with her attacker. The gun fired 3 times, and the man used it to repeatedly hit her, breaking her nose and inflicting numerous cuts and bruises.
The man's 2 front teeth are described as crooked and pointed, and he has sideburns to half the length of his ears. His grey sweatshirt has long sleeves, and his general clothing is described as scruffy casual rather than smart.
As police examine the woman's jeep for further clues, they have warned that the man could strike again. Anne Lucas, ITN, Hull.
5 British tourists have been charged with violent behaviour and causing injury after a brawl in Mallorca which led to the death of a taxi driver. The men appeared before an examining magistrate in the island's capital, Palma. An official said they could also face manslaughter charges. The incident happened in the town of Calvia yesterday. Today, Foreign Office Minister Mr. Timothy Egger said tempers on the island are running pretty high.
The 5 Britons were held in custody overnight at the Calvia police station. They were handcuffed for their appearance before the local magistrate. At the cafe where the brawl took place last night, the remains of the broken bottles were being cleared away. Feeling is running high in the town, where residents are demanding tougher action to deal with British hooligans. Today, police chiefs said they were going to draft in extra officers in case of a repetition of the violence. The arrested men are expected to appear in court again on Monday. Now, angry local people are saying the trouble the British bring to the town each year isn't worth the revenue in tourism.
A family of 3 have been killed and 5 people injured in a car crash in Devon. The accident happened on the A30 near Exeter. 3 people had to be cut from the wreckage. Medical teams were flown to the scene in a police helicopter as long tailbacks built up behind the accident. And 5 British cars were involved in a pile-up near Tournou in France. 1 person died and more than 30 were injured in the accident, which happened in a heavy thunderstorm. None of the Britons involved is thought to be seriously injured. Cricket and play has just resumed in the 3rd Cornhill Test at Old Trafford, where rain has again disrupted the West Indies' first innings. The latest score we have is West Indies 320 for 6. And from Wimbledon. And the latest score we have from Wimbledon is that it's 1-all, and Steffi Graf is leading in the final set 3-love. And that's the early evening news. The next news from ITN is on Channel 4 at 5 to 7, and we'll be back at 9:30 on ITV. From me, good evening.
Hello, now the latest news from Central. 2 youths are still helping police with their inquiries after a motorist was killed when a stolen car collided with his vehicle early this morning. The accident happened in Birmingham city centre after the stolen Vauxhall had hit a police car. 2 other people were also injured. The first ever Taekwondo World Championships are being held in Leicester this weekend. As Gary Bloom reports, 24 countries are taking part in the 2-day event.
If you get your kick out of life like this, then Leicester's the place to be this weekend. Taekwondo aims to be more artistic than the more brutish disciplines of Kung Fu and Karate, although I wouldn't want to argue that point too much with some of the top amateurs on view. The art originated in Korea in the 1950s, and Korean immigrants have spread the word by foot in hand throughout the United States and Europe since then. One man largely responsible for that is Taekwondo 8th Dan Hee Il-cho.
People sometimes misunderstanding a martial art as they think maybe just only self-defense aspects. Already person who achieved in here, I think he's 7 world champions in here. And I have a couple of Americans in here for they are 3-4-time national champion. Then when you can see there's many different fighters, especially when start fighting, it's gonna be unbelievable fight.
The largest sporting event of its kind in the world is taking place at West Bromwich this weekend. Richard Hudson-Evans reports.
A tented encampment has sprung up on the King George's playing fields at West Bromwich. When they held the first Sandwell volleyball tournament 19 years ago, just 2 teams entered. But this volleyball fixture has grown into this booming sport's biggest annual extravaganza. This year, a record 372 teams are playing in 14 divisions. And during the course of the weekend, more than 2,500 volleyball enthusiasts will have played some 850 matches on 65 courts. Even off-court, there's no rest for the afflicted. And as with every sport these days, it seems, you've got to get the right colour-coordinated kit from the inevitable stalls. But one 4-legged spectator never got a game. The Guinness Book of Records believes this to be the largest volleyball event in the world.
Now look at the weather. Rain is expected in most parts this evening. The lowest temperature 10 Celsius, that's 50 Fahrenheit. And the outlook for tomorrow, more of the same. That's all from us for now. ITN will keep you up to date overnight. We'll be back tomorrow. Good evening.